The secret affair between a beloved cheerleader and her married coach ended in a horrifying murder that no one saw coming. Whispers of forbidden romance spiraled into a chilling nightmare when betrayal, obsession, and desperation collided, leaving behind a gruesome crime that would haunt the community forever. What drove this secret relationship to such a deadly end? Stay tuned to uncover the shocking truth. Jessica was everything the school celebrated: talented, beautiful, and full of ambition. As the cheerleading squad star, she thrived under the spotlight, but behind the glitz, she carried a secret that would destroy everything. Robert, her married coach, was a man of influence and charm, admired by parents and students alike for his leadership. Their connection started innocently, or so it seemed. It was a few extra minutes after practice, words of encouragement whispered during a tough routine, and small gestures that became something far more dangerous. What started as an innocent bond soon crossed a line neither could retreat from. Their relationship blossomed in secrecy, hidden in shadows of empty classrooms and late-night texts that carried promises of devotion. But in a close-knit town, secrets have a way of slipping through cracks. Whispers began among the squad. Jessica always got extra attention, didn't she? And why did the coach's eyes linger a little too long when she was near? Jessica tried to ignore the growing tension, but every glance and passing comment felt like a dagger to her carefully guarded secret. For Jessica, the thrill was giving way to fear. What if someone found out? What if his wife, who worked in the same school, discovered the truth? Meanwhile, Robert seemed unfazed, convincing her that everything was under control. But could they really keep this dangerous liaison hidden forever? Before we unravel how this affair spiraled into an unthinkable tragedy, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Trust me, this story only gets darker, and the twists will leave you stunned. Hit that button because you won't want to miss the shocking details of how love, betrayal, and obsession led to the ultimate crime. Let's dive back in. The whispers about Jessica and Robert's unusual closeness refused to fade. What had once been thrilling and exhilarating now began to suffocate Jessica. She couldn't escape the feeling that every hallway glance, every smirk from a teammate, hinted at knowledge of her dark secret. At home, her parents had started asking questions. Why did she seem so distracted? Why was she always texting late at night? Jessica couldn't find the words to explain, and the weight of her deception was slowly crushing her. For Robert, the stakes were even higher. His wife, Emily, who taught science in the same school, was starting to notice his late nights and the distant look in his eyes. His reputation as a respected coach and a devoted family man was at risk, but his solution wasn't to end things, it was to tighten his control over Jessica. Every time she hinted at pulling away, he'd remind her of how much she'd lose if the truth came out. The more anxious Jessica became, the more possessive Robert grew, and their once intoxicating connection turned into a dangerous power struggle. The students weren't the only ones talking anymore. Teachers began to notice the tension between the coach and the cheerleader. Jessica's once flawless routines faltered as her fear took over, and Robert's usual calm demeanor began to crack. The walls were closing in on them, and Jessica could feel it. She wanted out, but Robert's desperation to keep their secret buried was terrifying. The tension between them reached a boiling point, and what happened next would be irreversible. Before we dive into the chilling twists that follow, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Trust me, the darkest parts of this story are yet to come, and you won't want to miss how this secret unraveled into pure tragedy. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. The pressure was unbearable, and Jessica had reached her breaking point. The once thrilling affair had turned into a nightmare she couldn't escape. She decided she needed to end it before it destroyed her entirely. Late one evening, after cheer practice, she confronted Robert in the empty gymnasium. The conversation was heated, the tension palpable. Jessica told him it was over, that she couldn't live with the lies or the constant fear anymore. But instead of understanding, Robert's reaction was chilling. His calm demeanor melted away, replaced by a look of desperation and anger that sent shivers down her spine. He pleaded, then threatened, saying she couldn't just walk away. He reminded her of what would happen if the truth came out, how her reputation would be ruined, how his career and family would be destroyed. But Jessica stood firm. determined to take back control of her life. As she walked away, Robert's voice echoed behind her, promising that if she talked, there would be consequences. Jessica felt a wave of relief mixed with terror. She had no idea just how far he was willing to go to keep her silent. Over the next few days, Jessica tried to distance herself, but Robert wasn't ready to let go. He sent her messages, waited for her after practice, and even drove past her house at night. She told her closest friend she was scared, but she didn't dare reveal the whole truth. That fear, the hesitation to tell anyone what was happening, would seal her fate. Before we reveal how this spiraling obsession led to the ultimate crime, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. You won't believe the shocking turn this story takes, and trust me, the ending will leave you speechless. Hit that button now, and let's continue unraveling this twisted tale. It was a quiet Friday night when Jessica's parents reported her missing. She hadn't come home after cheer practice, and her phone was going straight to voicemail. Panic set in as her family, friends, and even classmates tried to piece together where she might have gone. But Jessica's disappearance wasn't random. It was the result of Robert's desperation reaching its deadly climax. Earlier that evening, he had cornered her in the school parking lot, insisting they talk one last time. Jessica hesitated but agreed, not realizing she was walking into a trap she wouldn't escape from. He drove her to a secluded wooded area on the outskirts of town, claiming he needed closure. As the conversation spiraled into accusations and pleading, Jessica stood her ground, reiterating that it was over. That's when Robert snapped. In a fit of rage, he attacked her, silencing her protests in the most brutal way imaginable. The scene was gruesome, a stark contrast to the composed and admired coach everyone thought they knew. Back in town, the search for Jessica intensified, but Robert played his part well. He showed up to practice the next day, feigning concern, even offering to help look for her. But as the hours turned into days, his carefully constructed facade began to crumble. Suspicion grew when inconsistencies in his story emerged, and whispers among the students hinted at something much darker than a runaway cheerleader. Before we uncover the chilling discovery of Jessica's fate and the shocking fallout that followed, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. The twists in this case are unlike anything you've heard before, and the truth will leave you reeling. Hit that subscribe button now, because the darkest part of this story is just about to unfold. Stay tuned. Jessica's body was discovered 3 days later in the woods, discarded like an afterthought in a shallow grave. The town that once prided itself on its sense of community was now gripped by fear and outrage. The forensic evidence painted a horrifying picture of her final moments, and suspicion quickly zeroed in on Robert. His alibi unraveled under scrutiny, and when police retrieved damning text messages between him and Jessica, the truth was undeniable. The affair, the threats, and finally, the act of murder. Everything pointed back to the coach who had been trusted with the school's brightest stars. Robert's arrest sent shockwaves through the community. Parents who had admired him were now sickened by his betrayal, and Jessica's friends were left grappling with guilt and grief, wondering if they could have done something to save her. During his trial, the details of the affair and the chilling murder unfolded like a twisted drama. Robert tried to portray himself as a victim of circumstance, claiming the relationship had been consensual and the murder unintentional. But the jury saw through his lies, and his cold, calculated actions left no room for doubt. The verdict brought some semblance of justice: life in prison without the possibility of parole. But for Jessica's family, no punishment could ever fill the void left by her loss. The once proud high school became a grim reminder of the dangers lurking behind closed doors, and the community was left to pick up the pieces of its shattered trust. This tragic story is a sobering reminder of how secrets, no matter how well hidden, have a way of surfacing with devastating consequences. If this story has left you speechless, subscribe to our channel. We cover real stories that shock, haunt, and leave you questioning everything. Hit that button and stay tuned for more.